It was the moment many have been waiting for, finally seeing the back of Phillip Schofield, quite literally, as his remote island exploits came to a rather bitter end. But Blinkerhole noticed some strange coincidences and possible clues, as Phillip's controversial show, and possibly his television career, came to a close. More on that later. As viewers watched the finale of Cast Away, Phillip Schofield claimed he was sacked from This Morning because of his brother's actions. The former presenter refused to name or acknowledge his brother Timothy during an emotional speech on the Channel 5 show. However, he blamed his heinous crime for costing him his job on the ITV morning show. Phillip's younger sibling was sentenced to 12 years behind bars, having been found guilty of his crimes, and speaking to the camera from the deserted island, Schofield said, "I had absolutely no qualms whatsoever in shopping him. We were praised by the police and we got justice done. But still, even though they knew all of the facts, the papers painted me out to be some sort of complicit agent." He said it was at that moment his world started to collapse. He claimed ITV knew he hadn't done anything wrong in regards to his brother's crimes, but said on the day before Timothy was sentenced, he received news he was no longer going to front This Morning. "My phone rang and I picked it up," Phillip explained as he opened up on the conversation with his agent. "Mate, are you somewhere quiet, which is never a good sign?" "Yeah." "Okay, all right. I've got a bit of a shock." "Right. I'm afraid you've been let go from This Morning." "What?" "Yeah, that's it. It's done. You're not going back on Monday." He explained his agent told him the publicity his brother's actions had brought led to the decision. "That has nothing to do with me," he went on. "Why would I be sacked for something someone else did? I've just been fired because of him. Because I was becoming more of a story than the program. It was better for the show, better for the channel. And I agreed to say that I'd resigned, because it would be neater for everybody." Speaking in the voiceover, Phillip said he had always been open and honest with people about his brother's situation and crime. "I was fired for the bad publicity, for someone else's crime. And the thing is, about a week later, I blew my own wheels off with everything else because I thought the only way to even begin to put this right for everybody is to do a full mea culpa." However, since Phillip's candid claims, ITV accused Phillip Schofield of lying after he claimed he was sacked over his brother Timothy's conviction. Despite him insisting he was fired for someone else's crimes, an ITV source has since dismissed Schofield's claims, with an insider saying, "Phillip's new comments are simply untrue. He is lying again. We stood by him through his brother's court case. And he then stepped away when things became too much. There was a lot going on, and some relationships on the program had become untenable, as was reported at the time. He then admitted himself he had been lying about an affair, and he resigned from ITV altogether. We didn't sack him. He lied to us and then he resigned. There is not much else to say, and we as a network just want to move on." On the final episode of Phillip Schofield, Cast Away, we see the fallen star, claiming he was now free of toxicity after burning the names of his enemies. He told the camera, "There's something I've done here that I haven't shared with you yet, and now's the time. Over the course of my 10 days, I have written down all the things and all the people who were and are toxic in my life, and so I have that now. It's there." Phillip doesn't name anyone who features on the list, but scrunches it up in his hand and adds, "That's it," before throwing it into the fire. Before viewers could read them, he said, "And now the toxic bank is empty, and the goodness bank is full. Don't dwell on what you have lost. Live for what you have and be grateful for it." He also said, "You have to be joyful about the future, no matter what the future might be." However, the whole burning of a list of names ritual reminded Blinkerhole of something in Phillip Schofield's This Morning past. The moment he was forced to apologize back in 2012 after ambushing David Cameron on live television with none other than a list of names, which he alleged he had compiled from a cursory search on the internet. At the time, Schofield admitted he had put it together after spending 3 minutes collecting unsubstantiated gossip online, and that a misjudged camera angle meant some of the names could have been seen by viewers. Presented with the list, the then Prime Minister responded by warning of a witch hunt that meant prominent people were being wrongly accused of child A, simply because they were gay. A pointed line that Blinkerhole has never forgotten. Downing Street later attacked it as a silly stunt and trial by Twitter, while MPs warned it could distract from serious allegations being investigated by a string of official inquiries. In the aftermath, a Tory peer was subjected to online claims, falsely linking him to events at a North Wales care home, with Phillip and ITV later agreeing to pay him £125,000 in damages. Fast forward to today, viewing the now disgraced Phillip Schofield on Castaway, burning a list of names. Following what some people have previously described as a witch hunt, it does seem interesting that two very significant moments in Phillip Schofield's life involved a list of names. The list he presented to a blindsided David Cameron, and the list of names he burnt on a remote Madagascan island, which signaled the end of his incredibly long television career. As a now destitute and desperate-looking man with an overgrown beard, teasingly flashed a glimpse of the names of his enemies to the camera. In exactly the same fashion as he did all those years ago, he proceeded to crumple them up and throw them in the fire. Seen at a misjudged camera angle, Phillip then stripped off and showed his bare behind as he ran stark naked into the sea. As he did so, Blinkerhole couldn't help but be reminded of another disgraced star we have seen far too much of. As the final curtain fell on Castaway, and indeed Phillip Schofield, we couldn't help wondering whether this emotive scene, before he bows out of television for good, was his last-ditch attempt to reveal the truth. As his doting daughter Molly said, "My dad is very good at starting fires." But the question is, was Phillip Schofield trying to put one out? Like and subscribe for more journeys through the Blinkerhole. For entertainment purposes only.